Hey guys, welcome back, it's Meg. Today we are going to be running a 20 Fortified Ruby Life Pools. Some groups will try to skip this first guy either through invis pots or shouting. I personally don't like doing that, mainly just because if you die, this is the release point and you're gonna have a hard time getting back, or you'll just have to end up killing it anyway. A lot of things can happen in this first pack in terms of people getting one-shot or kicks getting off, so I feel as though killing the Juggernaut in the beginning is the safer option. This is also our lust pull, so I'm going to go ahead and pop my Shocking Disclosure Potion, drop Phaline, and then kind of just spin to win. You want to make sure you're spreading the potion effects, which is quite a bit of damage on AoE, and you also want to make sure that you're tagging everything with Mystic Touch and doing as much damage as you can, because this is more than 4 targets. Spinning Crane Kick is going to be the most damage, and then we'll do a little bit of maintenance healing through Ancient Teachings and Awakened Phaline. We did have one death to a Swirly, but because we pulled the Juggernaut, he is able to get back by himself, and we're going to be kiting into the water area because it is Sanguine, and we don't want the big guy healing too much, although I think he does get quite a bit of Sanguine healing back. The whelps give a very small amount of count, but we don't want to be fighting this guy completely alone, and he does kind of hit the tank pretty hard, so we don't want to pull too much into it. So we're just going to go ahead and fight him the rest of the way back from that Sanguine healing with these whelps. This is one of those rooms that you have to be very aware of where you're placing Phaline, so to avoid pulling packs that are to your left or in front of you, you want to make sure that you are either dropping it back from the pack and then just walking through it so it's kind of in the middle like I did here, or you can send it into a wall, or you can send it in a direction where there are no mobs, or that will not pull no matter which variation you get, no matter the length. So it's just something to be aware of. I haven't had it be an issue yet, but it is something that, depending on your positioning, it could become an issue. We do not want to kill this Juggernaut here, but unfortunately it's a bad pat, so we're going to go ahead and just wait out the patrol, and then we are going to be dragging one of the chill casters as well as the mini boss into that little section in front of the first boss. In situations like this where there's not really any damage going out and it's just one mob, I will usually just alternate between Tiger Palm and Blackout Kick to try to get as much mana back as I can to make the drinking time between this pack and the next shorter. It is important to mention that since this footage was taken last week, this boss has been nerfed, so the amount of damage that we're taking now is how much damage we are taking on the same boss on a 21 on Tyrannical. So she's going to be doing a lot less next fort week. That is just something to keep in mind. The chill storm's going out, so I pre-drop my Transcendence in melee, and I'm just going to roll out and Transcendence back as soon as it drops. This will help you avoid taking that initial hit of damage that you would normally take if you had to walk out normally. If you don't have Transcendence up, you can also roll out. Because of Thundering and other blue swirlies, we are doing our best to stay out of the water, so we are mainly standing on the petals. Here I dropped Phalanx, and I'm going to be healing mostly through Awakened Phalanx, but we also have a Hunter who can Wailing Arrow off her shield. That makes a big difference. From what I have heard recently, and by recently I mean like earlier today as I'm recording this, I've heard that it's been fixed, but I have not had any confirmation yet. So it may work, it may not, but the damage has been nerfed significantly, and Awakened Phalanx should be enough to keep people topped throughout that portion. I'm popping GG here just to top people after this chill storm. We get a little bit low and it's kind of concerning, and I want to make sure that we are tops before the whelps come out so that I can more effectively heal with Awakened Phalanx and not worry about falling behind. Something here that you do have to be aware of is where you're placing your Phalanx, because there are the hail bombs that are coming down and it is an area of denial. So what we are doing is moving in a circle. I am dropping the Phalanx in the direction that we are going to be heading after we drop our swirlies. That way you get to hold on to the Phalanx and fish for another reset without having to continuously recast or try to get wedged in between the hail bombs and risk dying for it. The best thing to do for this mob is to have everyone as healthy as you can before the Rolling Thunder goes out. That is the debuff. And then when the debuff does go out, you want to dispel one as quickly as you can to make sure that you have as much time as possible to top everyone before the next debuff either gets dispelled or expires. Definitely recommend using Gift in here. This is going to mean that you have Chi up for every single Destroyer pack. That is going to be a majority of your healing, and it is a very good tool for topping people up after the Inferno. You'll be able to pretty much get a lay on hands raid wide, and you're also going to have the residual hot helping you out. By the time that it's only the Destroyer left, you can kind of ignore everyone until the Living Bomb goes off, because there's only going to be one person with the Living Bomb. You want to make sure that that individual is healthy before going into the next Inferno. But if there's no cast going off, there's no other damage, then you should be fine just to tunnel the person with the bomb to keep them up before stabilizing everyone else. We were supposed to lust the last pull, but we didn't have exhaustion off until like it was basically over, so we just went ahead and lusted this. Going back, I would have preferred we lusted the next pack, but I think we were just trying to get it on cooldown so that we would get another one. These packs can definitely get really chaotic and a little bit of RNG in the sense that whoever gets the Living Bomb may or may not have defensives, they may get it repeatedly, or they may just take a lot of damage in general because of their class or whatever. But generally Chi is going to be able to take care of most of this damage again, but it can get a little crazy towards the end as you don't have anything to cleave off of and you are just trying to keep the Living Bomb people up and trying to cleave off the Inferno dot. The Living Bomb should be dropped on the pack though, mainly because it will interrupt their spellcasting and will knock them up in the air. This is really good for when you have a lot of kicks to take care of and you maybe have a range heavy comp or you're not in comms and you're not able to communicate the kick order. This is another one of the bosses that you want to be aware of where you're facing Phaeline. You don't want to drop it on pull because you don't know where the fire mob is going to spawn, and you want to make sure that as you are leaving the fire patch that it leaves behind when it dies, that your Phaeline is either off of cooldown and you have a proc, or it is going to be facing in the direction that you're heading. I like to use Chi-Ji on the first one, and then on every other, so I won't have it for the next, but I can fill that in with Vivify Cleave, Mana Tea, Cocoon, Moat, Revival, anything that I have access to. This fight is pretty rinse and repeat. It is mainly hot maintenance and then catching back up with Chi-Ji on the 2-target cleave, which is really effective for us. But other than that, it is baiting the boulders properly, it is making sure you're getting kicks on the Firestorm, and keeping hots up, maintaining your Phaeline in the right direction, etc. For these mobs, you should have Chi-Ji for every other Chandler, or depending on your routing, you may have it for every single one, depending on what you guys do. That being said, the warriors do have a Thunderclap AoE ability that reduces the haste. Chi-Ji makes you immune to this, and you can Tiger's Lust it off of yourself, but it is something to be aware of that you may be working with less haste than you're used to during the channeling. Just to get a little bit ahead on mana, I went ahead and rolled out and used one of the sleep drinking potions. This isn't super necessary, but I was looking to save a bit of time before going into the next pack before these died, before I could get an actual drink off. The spell queuing on these guys is a little bit weird, so I went ahead and just popped Chi for the first Lightning Storm to make use of the warriors that we have access to, because the cleave healing is going to do a lot there. And then we have Moat left over. We also have Cocoon and 2 defensive, so we're looking fine for the rest of this mob, but you are only going to have Chi for one of the storms. Unfortunately, Chi was like 2 seconds off of being a good use here. I went ahead and sent it anyway, just because, again, I have those other adds to cleave off of for more effective healing. And then we're pretty much out of cooldowns after that, so it's going to be health pots or defensives and things along that line. Headed into this boss, we are going to be hitting the dragon as much as we can. This is our primary focus because it's going to make the second phase of this fight much easier, in the sense that we are going to have to deal with much less of the AoE Inferno cores that he does in the second phase. Throughout this fight, it's important to be aware of where you're placing your Fey lines. It's not a huge deal if you get separated from it, but it is going to help with mana and with keeping your Ancient Teachings up, as well as some of the maintenance healing that comes from the double hit of our Tiger Palm. This transition can be a little bit scary, but I went ahead and popped my Moat as well as Chi. I'd like to be in melee as soon as the dragon comes down, but the dragon can melee you, so it's something that you have to be aware of. Sometimes it's worth the risk. If you trust your tank, then you can definitely go in early, but it is just something to kind of be on the lookout for. And because we focus the dragon so early, we only have the 2 AoE Inferno cores to deal with, once on the phase and then once as a separate cast. But other than that, it is just tank and spank. Make sure that you're dispelling your tank. Even in a dungeon that historically has required a lot of casting, a lot of Vivifies, Ancient Teachings still out-healed it by about 4 million, almost twice as much as Vivify did, so it is just something to go to show how strong Ancient Teachings can be on boss fights or even on cleave. I didn't do too much greeting for damage, mainly because I was afraid of this dungeon. This was the first time I'd seen it on anything higher than, I think, like a 15, so could have done a bit more damage, but I was definitely focused more on healing. I hope that this video was helpful. If you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to ask me on Twitch, Twitter, or Discord, or down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching!